Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. In this video, we will learn about lifecycle hooks with a fun pizza restaurant example. Let's imagine you want to start a pizza restaurant. When you open the restaurant, the first thing you do is you set it up. You build a restaurant, set up the kitchen, arrange the furniture, and get everything ready for customers. Once that is done, you open your counters. Let's say you have two counters, a pizza counter and a dessert counter. Once the counters are open, customers arrive at your restaurant's main counter and choose whatever items they want. For example, some customers may want pizza while others may head to dessert counter. Now, customers place their orders and go to their respective counters to wait for their food. When the pizza is baked, it's served to their table, and similarly, desserts are served as they are prepared. Let's say there is a mistake. The waiter accidentally serves the wrong pizza, perhaps a pepperoni pizza instead of a cheese pizza. The customer gets upset and the manager intervenes saying that this isn't the right pizza, please replace it. You quickly prepare the correct pizza and serve it to the customer. Now, the time is ticking, but all the customers are satisfied and your job is done for the day. It's closing time now. The restaurant shuts down for the day. You clean up, store the leftover ingredients, and turn off the lights. Just as you are closing, a customer walks in and says, "Closing time is at 10, but it's only 9:55. I want a pizza." However, by this time, all your workers have already gone home. You apologize to the customer, explain the situation, and proceed to close the restaurant. With that, you head home and rest for the day. In LWC, lifecycle hooks allow you to tap into key phases of a component's creation, updation, and removal. Now, let's imagine your LWC component as a pizza restaurant. Each lifecycle hook represents a different stage in pizza preparation and service process. In lifecycle hooks, we have two phases, mounting phase and unmounting phase. First, let's understand mounting phase. These are the concepts we are going to learn in mounting phase. Mounting phase is nothing but preparing a restaurant. First, let's understand Constructor. This is like opening your restaurant for the first time. You clean the kitchen, set up the furniture, and get ready for customers. Here in the Constructor, you initialize properties. You set up basic things before the components get added to the DOM. What exactly is DOM? DOM is nothing but a document object model, which I have explained in detail in a separate video. I will provide the link in the description or in the video's iCard. Please check it out for a clearer understanding. For now, to explain briefly, document object model is a tree-like structure that represents the content of a web page. Each node in the tree corresponds to the part of document, such as element or attribute or a piece of text. Think of the document object model as a blueprint for your restaurant. It shows how everything like tables, chairs, and even menu is organized and laid out. Using DOM, you can access the tags or elements and manipulate them. Now, let's get back to the pizza example. In the constructor, you are setting up the pizza oven and ingredients. Here is the example. Now, let's understand about super. Imagine you are running a pizza restaurant that is a part of larger pizza chain. The chain headquarters provide a base setup for all restaurants like kitchen setup, staff training, recipes for pizzas, etc. Your restaurant can have custom offerings like additional toppings or special deals, but it still relies on foundational setup provided by the chain. In LWC, you can't create a constructor without super. If you don't call super in your constructor, it's like trying to open your pizza restaurant without an initial setup for the chain headquarters. It is like no kitchen setup, no trained staff, or no standard recipes. Your restaurant won't function properly because it lacks the necessary foundation. When you call super, it's like getting the pizza chain's standard setup before adding your restaurant customizations. If you still don't understand the use of super, just remember that we have to use super inside every constructor. Now, let's understand about connected callbacks. The restaurant is now open for customers and you start receiving orders. And you are serving pizzas. In the connected callback, you're taking the first pizza order and serving it. This hook is triggered when the component is added to DOM. You basically use it to fetch initial data or set up the event listeners. Here is an example. Now, let's understand key features of connected callback. It is a parent-to-child flow. When a parent component is added to the DOM, its connected callback is executed first. Afterwards, the connected callback of each child component is triggered. Imagine your pizza restaurant chain consists of main restaurant, which is a parent component, and several specialized counters, which are also called as child components, such as pizza counter, drinks counter, and desserts counter. Each counter does its own work, like pizza counter handles pizza orders, drink counter handles drinks, whereas dessert counters handles desserts. When the restaurant is open, the main restaurant is set up and opens its doors. The counters such as pizza, drinks, and desserts are set up after the main restaurant is opened. To understand it more clearly, here is the visual representation of parent-to-child flow. In this representation, the main restaurant is set up first, the pizza counter is set up next, and the process cascades down to other child components in the DOM. Now, let's understand rendered callback. The pizza is baked and served to the table. You ensure that everything is perfect. This hook is called after the component is rendered in the DOM. It is used to manipulate the DOM or perform post-render action. In rendered callback, you are garnishing the pizza or double-checking the table setup. Here is an example. Now, let's understand updating phase. In updating phase, you basically modify the order. In this, we understand render. Render method is not technically considered as lifecycle hook in LWC. It is a method used to determine which template to render and is part of rendering mechanism. It is a customizable method used to decide which template should be rendered. It does not directly fall under lifecycle hook but works alongside them during the component's rendering phase. It is primarily useful when you have multiple templates and need conditional rendering based on component state. Let's say a customer changes their mind and asks for a different pizza topping. This method decides which template to render based on the current state. If the customer changes the order, you re-render the kitchen to prepare the new pizza. Here is an example. Here, the render callback is called and updates the pizza with the new toppings. This is called after the DOM is updated due to changes in the component. Now, let's learn about unmounting phase. These are the concepts we are going to learn. First, let's understand unmounting phase. It's like closing the restaurant. If we understand disconnected callback, it is nothing but when you try closing the restaurant for the day, you clean up, you store ingredients inside your refrigerator and turn off the lights. This hook is triggered when the component is removed from the DOM. Basically, we use it to clean up resources, remove event listeners, or cancel API calls. Here is an example. Let's understand error callback. Let's say a customer complains about their pizza and you troubleshoot the issue. This hook is called when there is an error in the component or its child components. We use it to handle errors gracefully. Here is an example. In summary, to understand lifecycle hooks in pizza preparation journey, restaurant preparation is a mounting phase. Setting up the restaurant is a constructor. Opening the restaurant is a connected callback. In this phase, you fetch data or add event listener. Serve the first pizza is rendered callback. It does the post render action. Order modification is nothing but updating phase. In this phase, you learn render and render callback. Updating the pizza toppings comes under render. Serve the updated pizza comes under rendered callback. Now, closing time comes under unmounting phase. Here you learn disconnected callback. You basically clean up and close the restaurant. And finally, error management. You handle the complaints. Here comes error callback. You troubleshoot the issues, take customer complaints, fix the issues, and again serve them. Now, let's see an example to understand this better. Here, I have created 3 components. One is a parent component, which is called restaurant, and the other 2 are the child components. Here, I have created 2 buttons. One is open pizza counter and the other is open dessert counter. In the JavaScript file, I have created a constructor, connected callback, rendered callback, and disconnected callback. When I come back to HTML file, I am invoking 2 different child components. One is lifecycle pizza and one is lifecycle dessert, which is also known as pizza counter and dessert counter. Let us see how it works in the UI. If you see the logs here, first the parent component started running. If you see here in the restaurant component, first the constructor started running and then the connected callback and finally the rendered callback. When I click on open pizza counter button, here we can see the pizza counter menu. And in the logs, you can observe the event in the parent component has run, and after that, the child component that we have invoked in the parent component has run. Here in the child component, first we can see that constructor started running, after that connected callback followed by rendered callback. Again, it came back to parent component and rendered callback started running. Likewise, this works the same for dessert counter. So here we can observe that the flow is going from parent to child. Now let's do a slight modification. Now, without using any directives, I have just tried invoking the child components in the parent components. As you can see here, pizza and dessert counter menus are available without clicking any of these buttons. If you see here in the logs, first the restaurant component started running, which is nothing but the parent. Constructor followed by the connected callback, and once the connected callback started running, it goes inside the child component. Constructor, connected callback, and followed by rendered callback. Once this is done, it goes again to the next child component. It starts running constructor, connected callback, and then rendered callback. Once all child components are done, it comes back to the parent component and runs the rendered callback. This is how lifecycle hooks work. I hope now you understood lifecycle hooks. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.